Sean, how we doing?
Good.
Good. Glad to be back. Been a while, huh?
Yeah. What's it like for you to go to these new cities? You were in Pullman a few weeks ago, and then now you're at UCF for the first time.
There's always kind of a new sense of energy when you go to a place you haven't been. People who aren't accustomed to having the show on their campus, they really seem to roll out the red carpet, and there's a lot of excitement and enthusiasm. And look, we're really grateful for that because the show's important to us, but we understand that the reason that the fans come out is because they're proud of their team and their program. They want to showcase their school and their traditions and all of that. In this case, they might want to share a few signs with us. So it'll be fun. We're looking forward to it.
Well, the fan base obviously feels like it's overdue. What kind of atmosphere do you expect tomorrow?
I hope it's frenzied. I hope there's a lot of space here, so I hope that we have a lot of folks show up. And from what I understand, we got 60 some odd thousand students on campus. We ought to be able to get a good percentage of those folks to come out and make it a really good crowd.
Might they have a message or two for Mr. Herbstreit?
They might have something for all of us. I mean, and that's okay. I mean, this whole sport is based in its history on conjecture and arguments and dispute over how to decide a championship. So I think it's cool. It's fun. I'm glad they care. It's better than them saying, "Hey, we went undefeated." Oh well, so it's good that they care. That's important. It will help the long-term growth of the program because you can't have the financial resources, no matter what your television contract is, and how many good games you have, if you don't have buy-in from people who care. You're going to have good seasons and good teams, but you're not going to have a consistent championship program. So I think it's a very healthy thing for UCF that they have had as many people show that they care.
How valuable could this be for the UCF program? Essentially a 48-hour infomercial is what Kurt called it when ESPN comes to town.
I mean, I think it can cast them in a different light, for sure. I mean, this is probably not going to be too popular, and I'm hesitating to even share it, but why not? We brought up UCF at Washington State, and people booed, and that hasn't been the only place. And you think, Washington State booing anybody? Why? And so I think this is an opportunity for people to see what they're about, see the passionate fan base, and to, kind of maybe spin things more in their favor. Now, it hasn't been in their favor before, but this could really open some eyes and give people an opportunity to have a good look at UCF and what they've been able to build here.
That actually was my question.
Oh, was it? Okay.
But with UCF fans they were in Pullman. They've been at every single stop. Mm-hmm. So can you just talk about what it means for the fans and for you guys? They've been showing support, and now they're finally getting you guys here.
It's great. They didn't have to wait as long as they did in Pullman. I mean, they sent that flag around the country for 15 years, until we finally got there. So this was a great week to do it, and we've been looking for an opportunity to come here because UCF has been a story in college football really since the end of last season. I'm not going to say, I think when they started 7-8-0 last year, it was like, oh, Scott Frost's doing a great job there, but they've been a story, and people have been talking about whether that impacts the playoff structure or the Power 5 versus the Group of 5, all of those types of things. And we pride ourselves on not just going to the place where the game might pit the two highest ranked teams, the lowest combination of numbers. We try to go where there's a great story, and I think that no matter which side of the fence you sit on about whether they should be in the playoff consideration or not, I think this is a great story, and it's certainly impressive what they've been able to do in terms of winning 22 in a row.
Why do you think they're being booed in places like Pullman? Are they party crashers? Or?
No, I think I don't know. You'd have to ask them for sure. My sense of it is that maybe it's been so overt in the way they've pushed back that maybe some people are going, hey, wait a minute, you're not the only ones or something. I don't know, or maybe they just didn't want them crashing into their scene in the moment, So I don't think there's any deep vitriol about, UCF across the country. There's just something we've kind of noticed a couple of places. We bring it up in the playoff discussion and people react, and that's okay. I mean, sometimes if they don't care, if they don't respond to you, that's probably a bad thing. That probably means UCF is doing something right if they're getting opposing fans to react to them, especially ones that don't really have a dog in the hunt. I guess Washington State does to a degree, but something like that, I think when they're reacting to them, it means they're getting some attention.
Sorry, go ahead. Your colleague Kirk Herbstreit said he was a firm believer in the 14 playoff, but now after the last couple of years, he said he kind of thinks it should be expanded to 8 teams to give a team like UCF a shot. What is your look on that?
would depend on exactly what you mean. And I'm not dodging the question. Under the current setup, with conference championship games coming from divisions which, no matter what you do, will never be equitable or equal, I would be opposed to an 8-team playoff if you are saying there are automatic qualifiers. If you're still saying that you go to 8 and first round's on campus, I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to it, but I think the 4-team playoff is good. I think an exclusive, difficult thing to get into is good for the sport. It should be hard to win a championship. And, I don't know, 8 is probably a number that we'll go to eventually. Probably, my guess is it would be closer to the end of this current contract, though that's just me, speculating. I'm not involved in those negotiations, obviously. I think the day will come when 8's the right number, just as the day came when it's 4. But my counsel on it would be when it is 8, then especially if you're going to do the automatic qualifiers, conference champions, a group of 5 team, which I think most years would work, but some years wouldn't. Some years, you wouldn't have one that would be worthy of that. And, just as some years you don't have a Power 5 conference champion that's worthy of being in the playoff. So I think you'd have to be careful what you wish for. You'd have to be willing to overhaul the entire thing. And probably schedules are never going to be completely equitable, but you would probably then also need to get to 9 or 10 conference games in all of these big conferences, and then that could create other issues for teams outside of those conferences, because if you start expanding and everybody's saying play 9, I've even seen some who say, well, why not just play 10? I think there are coaches who said that the Power 5 teams should only play other Power 5 teams. That creates issues. I'm digressing a little bit, but a couple of years ago when Jimbo was still at Florida State, I went down to a preseason practice, spending a little time with him afterwards, and we were talking about scheduling playing FCS teams, which in the SEC this week is an issue and people get mad about it. Jimbo played at that level, and he said, those schools depend on those checks to fund the program. And, I know there's some people who, when I present the argument, say, can't we find a way to share the money with them? And I always say, if you find somebody willing to give people money for nothing, let me know, because I'd like for them to give me some, too, for nothing. So, it has to be a little bit of a give and take situation. But to answer your question, the day will come. I don't think it's as soon as many people do. I'm sure there could be a series of events or things that happen under the current format that would make people change their minds, but I think it will be a little farther down the road.
Rece, you've been here before to UCF to do play-by-play for some games. This is your first time here in this capacity. When the word came down that you guys were coming to UCF, what did you tell the guys? What did you tell the crew about what it's like here at UCF, and here's some of the things you're really going to like and enjoy about this place? Well,
we've targeted this for several weeks. I mean, this was, there are a couple of spots on the schedule where we looked and said, if things fall right, this would be a great opportunity to go to UCF. And I was a significant advocate of coming here, and mostly because of some of the criticism that all of us, myself included, criticism's the wrong word, critique of the evaluation and whether they rise to the level of being in the top 4, which is, by the way, all we're saying, or at least it's all I'm saying. I'm not saying they're not great. I'm not saying winning 22. Nobody else is winning 22 in a row. That's a heck of an accomplishment. But in terms of being here, I told them that they'll find a lot of enthusiasm, they'll find a gargantuan student body, and that they better make sure that they keep a wide stance inside the stadium, because when they start jumping up and down, start bouncing a little bit. So, if we have some guys who have some challenges with their balance, they better keep a wide stance and make sure they're in a good athletic position for the entire game.
Can you talk about the matchup tomorrow night with UCF and CC?
I think it's a significant challenge for UCF. They're the better team, but Cincinnati has a really, really strong defense. I think that when you have a situation like this, when UCF is getting as much attention, and they've earned that attention, there's going to be the old disrespect, chip on the shoulder card. We're going to come in and show them, and this is a hard-nosed, tough team that can run the ball and control the clock, and that is the one area in which, while UCF's been terrific at taking the ball away, they haven't been the staunchest defense in terms of stopping the run. I think Cincinnati presents a significant challenge if they can get a couple of stops and then control the clock a little bit with Warren in the running game. So I think it's going to be a terrific game. I'm looking forward to to being on the sideline for it, and I think it's going to be fun.
What's in the water in Hawaii? Tua, McKenzie, Jordan.
It's been, I'm going to tell you, isn't it remarkable the number of terrific quarterbacks that have come from the state of Hawaii? And I think it's because football's important in the culture there. They're taught the passing game at a very early age. And it becomes second nature to them, I think. I mean, you look at McKenzie's instincts and Tua's instincts. Now, Marcus Mariota didn't tell me about McKenzie, but the year he won the Heisman, it was before he won the Heisman, we were here for the awards show, and I was doing an interview with him, so we were just sitting there sort of chatting before, and I said, hey Marcus, I said, who's the next great guy from St. Louis High? Because there are so many tremendous quarterbacks that have come out of that high school program. And Marcus looked at me and he goes, there's a kid down there now named Tua. He said he's going to be better than all of them. So, so even I think there's great pride in performance. There's a great quarterback lineage there, and McKenzie's certainly been a tremendous part of that in a short time in his college career.
All right, guys, thanks so much.
Okay, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Good night.
Go night. Great, thank you, Matt.
Excuse me, Rece, be advised.